All right, let's kick off this deep dive.
Yeah.
We're diving into your review of The Creator, a 2023 sci-fi film.
Okay.
And from what you've said, it seems like it really kind of redefines how we think about AI.
Uh-huh.
That this isn't just robots, doing our dishes or whatever.
Right.
This is sentient beings grappling with what it even means to exist.
Exactly, yeah.
And you even compared it to some pretty heavy hitters like Blade Runner and District 9.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, I'm thinking this is more than just another action movie with explosions.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely got some depth to it, for sure.
So as you were watching, what really jumped out at you? What made you think, whoa, this is different?
Honestly, what struck me the most was how the creator takes those classic sci-fi anxieties we all have about AI, like those things that keep us up at night wondering about the future of technology.
Yeah.
But it takes those anxieties and grounds them in a very real, very human conflict.
Okay, so it's not just about the tech itself. It's about how we react to it.
Exactly. It's about that fear, the misunderstanding, how those things can escalate and lead to some serious conflicts.
And then on top of all that, you've got this, well, from your review, incredible relationship right at the heart of it all.
Right. Joshua and Alphie. Right.
Yes. The hardened ex-soldier who's given this, well, let's be honest, pretty messed up mission.
I mean, yeah. Talk about a tough job.
Destroy an AI child.
It's heartbreaking and fascinating all at the same time,
It's such a classic trope, though, right? The human connecting with the other. But I'm curious, how does the creator use this relationship to make us, think differently about those blurred lines between humanity and AI?
Well, I think they kind of flipped the script on us a bit. We've all seen the lone wolf soldier, the hardened veteran, a million times.
Yeah.
But what happens when that soldier is forced to confront the very thing he's been trained to destroy?
Oh, that's good.
And not just destroy, but to actually connect with, on an emotional level. Yeah. You mentioned the performances and their chemistry, and I think that's what sells it. You believe their bond. And that's incredible when one of your leads isn't even human.
That brings up something else that really caught my eye in your review, the visuals.
Mm-hmm.
You described the cinematography as breathtaking, which is a big word to use.
Oh, it earned it, believe me.
But what I found interesting is that it's not the typical sterile, futuristic cityscape.
Right.
You talk about these lush, rural landscapes, which seems like a deliberate choice to contrast all that tech.
Right.
What do you think the director, Gareth Edwards, was going for with that?
I think Edwards, who's amazing, by the way, he did Rogue One,
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, he's known for creating these incredibly immersive worlds, and he brings that same skill to the creator.
Okay.
He uses a lot of natural lighting, handheld camera work, even drew inspiration from actual Southeast Asian landscapes.
Wow. So grounding the fantastical in reality.
Exactly. Makes the AI and their world feel real, tangible.
So we've got advanced technology and the potential for robots taking over, but the film is making us feel this human connection.
Yeah. It's weird, right? But it works.
It's definitely making me want to see it even more.
Yeah.
And we'll get to those criticisms you mentioned. But first, something you wrote really piqued my interest, the whole idea of the cyclical nature of war. How does that theme fit into a film about humans battling AI?
Well, that's where the creator goes beyond the typical robots versus humans trope.
Okay.
It really digs into the ethical complications, the messy bits of AI.
So not just good versus evil, but something deeper.
Exactly. It asks, is conflict just part of who we are? Like, are we doomed to keep making the same mistakes even with new tech? And are we really afraid of AI, or are we just scared of what we don't understand, of something different?
Ooh, that's a good one. So it's not giving us any easy answers.
Sure.
And that's what makes it so fascinating. We'll unpack those criticisms you mentioned about the film after a quick break. Stay with us.
It's not just about sitting around and pondering. The creator also delivers on the action and suspense.
You mentioned that even with a modest budget, the action never feels cheap or too reliant on CGI.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell Edwards is a master at making the most out of what he's got.
Right.
He knows that to make action really hit, it needs to be grounded in character and emotion.
So it's not just about explosions and big set pieces.
Exactly. It's about what's at stake, the motivations driving those moments, the fear.
So even in the chaos, we're still connected to Joshua and Alphie, feeling what they're feeling.
Yeah, those human elements are what make the action matter.
And from your review, it seems like the film uses those action sequences to dig even deeper into those ethical questions we were discussing earlier.
Absolutely. Like there's this one scene you mentioned where Joshua's forced to make a really tough decision.
Right. Without giving too much away, there's this moment where Joshua has to choose between protecting Alphie and following his orders.
Man, that's a classic dilemma, the soldier caught between duty and conscience.
It's even more intense in this context, though, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about disobeying orders.
Yeah.
It's about questioning the very nature of his enemy, of what he's been told is a threat.
And it sounds like this scene is a turning point for Joshua, forcing him to see Alphie in a new light.
Yeah, like he has to confront all those preconceived notions, to see Alphie not as a weapon, but as something more.
Something deserving of compassion, of protection.
Exactly. And it's these nuanced moments woven into the action that make the creator stand out.
It makes us think about our own biases, too, you know.
Totally. Like, how do we react to the unknown? Can we show empathy when faced with something different?
It's making me think about how we treat new technologies in real life.
Oh, for sure. There's so much fear and misinformation out there.
But let's stick with the film for now. You mentioned that while it asks big questions, it doesn't always give us clear answers.
And honestly, I kind of like that.
Huh.
So many sci-fi films try to wrap everything up in a neat little bow.
Right. With a clear, good guy, bad guy, happy ending.
But that's not how the real world works, is it? Things are messy and complicated.
And the creator embraces that.
Totally. It makes you think even after the credits roll.
Speaking of the ending, though, you said that while it builds to a satisfying climax, the final moments feel a bit abrupt.
Yeah, just a tiny bit.
Did that take away from the film's message at all?
I mean, every film has its weaknesses, right?
True.
Maybe it could have used a little more breathing room at the end.
Just a moment to really let the implications sink in.
Exactly. But even without a perfectly wrapped up ending, it sounds like the creator offers a powerful experience.
It does. It blends amazing visuals, characters you really care about, and those big questions about AI and humanity all into one incredible package.
Sci-fi at its best, using the future to make us think about who we are right now.
Now, before we move on, I'm really curious. What's the biggest takeaway for you personally? What will you be thinking about long after you've seen it?
For me, it all comes back to empathy.
Oh, interesting.
The creator really pushes us to look beyond the surface, to see the humanity in those we think of as different.
Even those who challenge our understanding of what it means to be human.
Exactly. And that's a message that applies to so much more than just robots and AI.
It's about how we treat each other, how we build our communities.
Yeah, how we see the world.
It's powerful stuff, and that's what good storytelling is all about, right?
Yeah.
Using fiction to explore those timeless human themes.
The creator does that beautifully. It uses sci-fi to talk about empathy, about understanding, and the choices we make when faced with the unknown.
Well said. And for you listening, what resonated most with you as we explored the creator? Was it the visuals? The relationship between Joshua and Alphie? The big questions about AI? Whatever it was, we hope this deep dive has left you wanting more, wanting to explore those ideas further, maybe even see the film for yourself.
And remember, even if you don't agree with everything in the film, the important thing is to keep the conversation going.
Exactly. The creator is just the beginning.
It's up to us to keep exploring, to challenge our own assumptions.
And to approach the future with, well, maybe a little less fear and a little more curiosity.
Totally.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break.
We'll be back in a moment to discuss the film's ending and unpack what it all means for us here in the real world.
Okay, we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into the creator. We've talked about the amazing visuals, the emotional story, those thought-provoking AI questions. But, something you said in your review keeps coming back to me. You said this film isn't just science fiction. It's like a reflection of all our anxieties about technology today.
Yeah, that's the thing about good sci-fi, right? It takes the future and uses it to examine the present.
Like a distorted mirror.
Exactly. And with the creator, it's like it's tapping into our deepest fears about AI, like what happens when it all goes too far.
It's everywhere, right? In the news, even just thinking about our phones, that unease, that tech is getting out of control.
And the film forces us to confront that head on. Not just the dangers of AI, but our own reactions, our biases. We tend to be afraid of what we don't get, You
even wrote that the film made you wonder, is the conflict between humans and AI inevitable? Or are we, making it happen by our own actions?
It's so clever how the creator does that. It doesn't give you easy answers, no clear-cut good versus evil.
Yeah, it's more complex than that.
It makes you look at those uncomfortable truths about ourselves and how we deal with technology. Like, are we creating the very things we're afraid of?
That's heavy stuff to think about. But you also said you finished the film feeling optimistic, like maybe there's another way, a path where humans and AI can exist together without all the fear.
Oh, there's definitely hope in there. The film shows that even when there's conflict, you can still have compassion, understanding. You can connect with something that's different.
Joshua and Alphie's relationship, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Two totally different beings finding a way to connect, to see each other's humanity. That gives me hope, even for the real world.
It's like a reminder that empathy is key, not just with AI, but with everyone. So, as we wrap up, what would you say is the biggest takeaway from the creator? The one thing we should all remember.
It boils down to choice, I think. We can face the future with fear, suspicion, or we can approach it with curiosity, empathy, a willingness to learn.
Almost like the film itself is a choice, isn't it?
The creator doesn't tell you what's right, but it shows you the future isn't set in stone. We build it with the choices we make today.
And those choices impact everyone, not just us, but those who come after us. So what are we going to do with this knowledge? Let fear rule or open ourselves up to what's possible? The creator doesn't hand us the answers, but it starts a really important conversation.
And that's got to continue, especially as we figure out this whole AI thing in the real world.
It's the power of good art, though, right? It makes you think, makes you feel, makes you want to do something. The creator might be set in the future, but it's talking about things that are always relevant.
Right.
The choices we make, how we connect with each other, our responsibility to build a future that works for everyone. And to everyone listening, we hope this deep dive into the creator wasn't just us telling you about a movie. We hope it made you curious, sparked your imagination, even made you look at the world a little differently. Remember, the future isn't something that just happens. We create it through our choices, the stories we tell, the conversations we have. So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those minds open. Until next time, stay curious.